Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Motion in Motion. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about tab bar controllers and how to customize them. Before we get into it though, I want to show you a website called Icons8. They supply a bunch of icons that you can use. I'm not being sponsored by them, I just really like them. So they have a bunch of the PNGs that you can download in various sizes, specifically designed for iOS 7. And if you feel like you want all of the original files as well, like the different file formats, you can pay the $149 to get all of those as well. The other resource that I want to show you is the bar items section of the Human Interface Guidelines. This is a fantastic resource for when you forget exactly what the sizing is for something. So, for example, it tells us that the tab bar icons should be about 50 by 50 for a Retina screen and about 25 by 25 for your normal resolution screen. So, with that out of the way, let's jump into it. So there's actually nothing else in our application other than our tab bar. I've set it up to have some custom icons and to have these 5 tabs, just so that I can show you how all of that part works. So let's continue on to see how this has been set up. To start off, I'm setting the root view controller to be the result of the tab bar controller method. So obviously this is going to be the place we'll start looking at first. There's a big chunk of code here, but it's extremely straightforward. The first line of this, we simply create a new UI tab bar controller, assigning it to the tab bar controller instance variable. Next is where we set all of the view controllers that the tab bar controller will maintain. I've created a class method on the myViewController class, which helps with the setup of how the tab bar looks. The first 2 controllers take a name for the item in the tab bar, followed by the name of the image, and finally the tag, which isn't important right now. The third controller uses a constant from UIKit called UI tab bar system item favorites. This will be used to use the system defined favorites tab bar item. The 4th and 5th use the same style that the first 2 use. And finally, the last line in this chunk of code simply sets the selected tab bar item to be the 3rd item. Ignore anything that's commented out for now, we'll be taking a look at this later. So you can see, a tab bar controller simply manages a list of view controllers. We'll take a look next though, at how it knows what to display in the tab bar. The way a tab bar knows what to display for each view controller is by looking at the view controller's tab bar item. The class method create that I'm using in our app delegate does the work of creating and assigning those tab bar items for our controllers. It starts out by checking to see if either a string or a constant was passed to it. It then calls the correct method for either option. After getting the result from one of the methods, it creates the myViewController instance and assigns the newly created tab bar item to the tab bar item property of the myViewController instance. I'll show you the create system item method first, where we're simply creating a new UI tab bar item, passing it the constant and tag to its init with tab bar system item method. Next is the create item method, which takes the title, image, and tag. First it finds the image, then next it creates the tab bar item using the init with title, image, tag method, which it then returns. That's how we create a standard looking tab bar, but we would like to customize it further. I'll start by uncommenting the code in the tab bar controller method of the app delegate. Here, I'm setting some properties on the tab bar view of the tab bar controller. The first is the background color. The second is the text color for system items. And the third is the color a selected tab bar's icon should be. Before I continue, I'll note that using system items can be a bit of a pain when you're customizing the tab bar. So I'm going to use a replacement, which looks the same but is made from our title and an image I have in the resources directory. To get the text to be the correct color, we need to set the title text attributes. I'm setting the NS foreground color attribute for the normal control state to be orange and for the selected state to be green. Then back in our MyViewController class, I'll uncomment the commented out code and comment out the old image creation. The new image creation is using an extra method called image with rendering mode. This is being passed the UI image rendering mode always original constant. We also select the off image instead of the on image. This is all because in the unselected state, you have to supply the image with the right color and let it know to display it exactly as the file says and not use it as a mask as per usual. The selected image can still use a mask though, so we do nothing special when we assign that. Now with our customization in place, we can see that we have our purple background and our orange icons and text for the unselected state. The selected item is green, just like we wanted. There is a lot of small details to change in order to get the correct look. It's important to remember you'll need an unselected image with the color you want, as well as the normal image which will be tinted through the code. This process is extremely repeatable though, so I hope it helps you in the future when you're customizing the look of your application. That's all for this episode, and I hope to see you in the next episode of Motion in Motion.